Johnson to his right, three receivers, wide side right, tight end left. Snap to Latif, turn, he'll keep, run right between the hash marks, 40, accelerates 45, spins off a tackle for a first down across midfield to the UCLA 47-yard line, a Medica first down. Latif motions two tight ends right, now works out of the gun. Johnson to his right, two receivers right side of the formation. Barney again motions left. Snap, play fake, Latif guns one right, twisting attempted, Barney hold on. Touchdown Huskers! And out to the far right, Barney leapt. He caught it in traffic on a back pedal, crashing over the front right pylon. And the Huskers take their opening drive for 6.
A lot of credit to them. I thought number 9 was, I thought Nico was fantastic and just an absolute warrior. You know, that first drive we hit him so many times. I didn't know how long he could do that. He just did it all night, and got a lot of respect for him. You know, respect for Tim and what he's doing. But for us, you know, to get our third, win on the road, to come off of how hard last week was. You know, that's why I wanted my daughters to walk in. Like, you know, last week as we were walking the press conference, you know, Vivi was like, I'm walking in there with you. So, you know, I wanted her to see the good ones too. And I just can't speak enough to our guys. You know, they're battered, they're beat up. It's been a long, hard season. We have a bunch of guys, you know, back home, and yet they went out there and they competed. It wasn't perfect, but it was really good, you know, and
Happy Sunday morning, everybody. Welcome to Severe Reaction here on 1620 The Zone as the Edwin Hawkins Singers have the backup today for Oh Happy Day. We welcome you in 1620 The Zone, Severe Reaction. I am Michael Severe. Producer Pete the producer. Peter Krinzer is producing the show today. You have Peter for another, I think, 30 minutes or so where he'll actually be concentrating on the show. And then the Colts come on. And then you'll be lost at that point. You won't have him anymore. As Nebraska heads into the bye week, it can't be much better than coming off a game where you moved to 7-3, the same amount of wins you had last year. 4-3 in the, of course, Big Ten. And on top of all of that, even though things got a little hairy in the fourth quarter with that score to bring it to a one-score game, Nebraska, for the most part, played as well on offense as they played against a Power 4 team, because we've talked a lot about putting together a perfect game or putting together a complete game. Nothing can be perfect, right? You can't be perfect. We learned that in several movies talking about football on Friday nights. But as close as you can get in terms of offense, they were there. One of the craziest numbers from this game, out of all the numbers, is in the history of the University of Nebraska, where they have produced lots of great running backs. Mike Rozier, an example, who won the Heisman Trophy. A young man named Amir Abdullah, who is still in the league after going in the draft, I believe, in 2015. So many great running backs over the years. First time in the history of the program that a running back had 100 yards receiving and 100 yards rushing in the same game. I got a call from McMaster sometime at the end of the third quarter about who else had done it, because they were trying to research it. And I said, well, if it's not Amir, and it's not Marlon Lucky, and it's not Johnny Rodgers from that game where he played at the end of his career, where he played running back, if it's not those, I have no idea who it could be. And in the end, we find out from the University of Nebraska that it's never happened before. Again, with all of the great running backs in the history of this school, and we've gone through some eras of being able to throw the ball, obviously, since the 80s and 90s. I mean, threw the ball a lot in the 70s, actually, when they first switched over the I formation. But it's never happened before. And on top of that, another really cool geek number, 78, Peter, 78. There's something called leverage. Leverage plays means you are in either standard downs or third and short. It means you're not in a passing down. 78% of the time, Nebraska was not in a passing down situation. Think about that. That's crazy.
A large number.
That is a large number. And now I have to go back and look, but I don't believe Nebraska's been that close before in a Power 4 game, not in Obviously that'd be that way sometimes in an Akron game or whatever else, but they were as good as they could be while leaving things for themselves to still be able to correct, right? They got a bye week coming up. And yes, you want to celebrate a win, but you like having some things to still be able to correct. And we'll talk about those as we go along. But this was a game, and I said all week, I thought this was the perfect opponent for TJ Lateef to make his first start. And there were really 3 or 4 reasons why. One, you had a team that barely got any pressure. One of the worst pressure teams in all the Big Ten. No one on their team had more than 1.5 sacks for the season. As you saw, they didn't get to TJ. They only had 2 tackle for losses the entire game. So I thought that was a great opponent. It's a road game, but it's not really a road game. You traveled, but you probably had more fans than they did. You could certainly hear that in the third and fourth quarters. So you get that as a good thing. You're going home, so you're going to a place that you're kind of comfortable in, going back to Los Angeles. All of those things is why, and also UCLA struggled against mobile quarterbacks most of the season. Now, TJ only had 5 carries, 31 yards. Biggest carry was the first one he had for 14 yards. But still, they struggled quarterbacks who could move their spot, off their spot. And so I thought it was a great matchup for them. I bet Nebraska. I picked Nebraska. Very disappointed I didn't get a rushing touchdown from TJ Lateef. I had that in a lot of different places. Let me tell you, that was one I thought I was going to get. I had one where I thought it was going to be, I had Nico and TJ both for 2, which would have paid like ridiculous amount of, you throw some money on it. Anyway, so yeah, I thought he would have a great day. I thought Emmett would have a really good day. I didn't know he'd have this day. I mentioned first time in school history, 100 yards rushing, 100 yards receiving, same game. But look how far you have to go back to find some of the other things. So now, by the way, after yesterday, he's got 82 catches. That puts him 3rd in school history. 3rd. And if he wanted to, he could play another year. If he comes back, he could have a whole another year. He's behind Jeff Kinney, who had 82. And Peter, would you like to take a wild guess on how many catches Marlon Lucky had in his career?
Over his whole career?
His whole career. I will give you in one season, he had 75.
Let's go maybe like 170?
135.
Okay.
So he's number one. He's number 1 at 135. Then there is Jeff Kinney, now tied with Emmett Johnson in the history of the program. The last time a Husker had 3 consecutive games over 100 yards in conference play, Divina Zigbo, 2017.
Wow.
How old were you in 2017?
I was 17. I was still in high school.
In high school. That's where Peter was.
Jeez.
In high school. The first Husker to have 3 consecutive 100-yard rushing games since Anthony Grant did it back in 2022. So not that long ago. First Husker to have 25 or more carries in 3 consecutive games. How old were you? I know the answer to this question because you weren't born, I don't think. Yeah, doing the math, you weren't born. So the last time a Husker had 25 or more carries in 3 consecutive games was the kid from Omaha Central High School, Amon Green, in 1997.
Just before I was born.
Just a little bit before you were born. So
but I did get to see Omaha Nighthawk Amon Green when he was playing for the Nighthawks.
You had that. You had the Nighthawk experience.
That was my makeup for missing out on his Husker days.
His Husker days and his high school days and all the great days at Amon Green. Think about that. Back to back to back, 25 or more carries, 3 consecutive games, 1997. Amon did it over the last 3 games of the 1999 season. All right, 402-951-1620. Our sponsors, of course, always brought to you by Equitable Bank, where we take banking personally. Answer the phone on the first ring with some sort of superstitious magic that allows them to be able to do that. Also brought to you by Nebraska Medicine. Join our team at nebraskamed.com/careers, 402-951-1620 to call the show. We start off the morning with Val. Good morning, Val.
Hi, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, man. Pretty well. Pretty good.
Good. I just want to say I'm an ardent baseball fan, and of course the season was over last week. So yesterday with the weather, was a perfect time to watch some football. And
Yeah.
Chris Peterson summed it up last night. He said, "I love November football." And the games yesterday, Iowa.
Yep. Wisconsin
what was
game.
the other one? Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And then, it was great. But the cherry on the sundae was the Nebraska game last night. I really thought that these guys, I don't know if I've seen it all at all this year, but I think because of their being backed up against the wall with the kid at the quarterback, they really showed that they could come together and play. And it doesn't matter, UCLA wasn't like our next two opponents, but they had to prove something, and I think they really built some confidence from their effort. And my question is kind of out there, but what does the coaching staff have to do to motivate a team each week to play the way the Huskers played last night? They had their backs against the wall, and they really showed up in all aspects of the game. Yeah, there were some mistakes, and then I think the most touching thing at the end of the game, you had T.J. Lateef when Nico and I think it was Flores taking pictures at the end.
Yeah.
I never really seen that. And he probably, if those kids are California kids
That's
or
right.
camp kids or whatever, probably knew that. I thought that was pretty cool. So that's my take.
No, I appreciate it, Val. You're right. They are. I'm sure they've known each other for a very long time. And you're right about, everybody stepping up. I know Emmett talked about it and Coach Rule talked about it. But on top of that, I remember I was listening to a show, these two guys who do a show that I enjoy, and they were going over the Nebraska UCLA game, and they were like, well, Raiola's out, and look what Lateef did in the first time he came in. He was like 2 of 7 or whatever, 7 yards, and hey, he had some fumbles and all this, and I expect UCLA to win this game. And I saw a bunch of people picking UCLA to win the game outright. And I know one of the guys, and so I sent him a DM, and I'll read it for you. This is what I sent him on the DM. Now, this is a guy who does a national show. And I sent him the DM after I listened to them kind of break down the game. And I said, I understand the things that you were saying about Nebraska game and the backup quarterback, but I can assure you the coaches are really excited about having Lateef in there and his running ability against UCLA, a team that has struggled to stop the quarterback run. And I know it didn't look great last week, but TJ can really spin the ball and throw it downfield. I think they may do that better than what Dylan can do. That's what I send him. And he said, okay, roger that. I'll look and see. And I think after watching the game, he probably appreciates what I said to him, because, you can't ever judge a backup quarterback. And I don't care if they're a true freshman or a senior by coming in the middle of a game, especially after an injury where, it looked bad, but then you're waiting to see if the starter can come back in the game. And so you're out there and you're trying to do your job at the same time. You're maybe looking over your shoulder. It's difficult. But then you turn around and you say, okay, injury happened. By Sunday that it's bad and that he's out for the year. So you get the entire week. They game plan with you. You practice. You put together a script. You do all the things. And like many times, if you do that and everybody steps up to help you, there's a play in the third quarter. Pretty sure it's either late third quarter, early fourth quarter. And TJ, it's early third quarter because the damn smoke from the fireworks is still in the shot. And he is rolling to his right, kind of a sprint out, and he throws the ball in Isaiah Hunter. He throws it low. And Hunter goes down and catches the ball while still running. That is picking up your freshman quarterback. The screen pass to Emmett, that ball was high. Emmett went up and got that ball, got turned, and got down the sideline where 2 offensive linemen are 35 yards down the field, sealing blocks up against the line of scrimmage, across the boundary, so he can go down the sideline. That's everybody picking him up. That's Dane Key pacing himself on a crossing route so the throw could be made amongst all of the arms that are up on the defensive line. That's picking up your guy. The way overall the wide receivers blocked in both the run game and when other guys were catching balls. That was all picking him up. That's why it looked like, just by watching it, that maybe, and going back to Val's question about motivating them, maybe it looked like they were more motivated. Here's the thing about football, and in my opinion, let's go to life. It's not about people motivating you. It's about you motivating yourself. And those young men, I'm sure, said to themselves, we're going on the road. It's us against everybody, even though the fans were there, about 25,000 worth, us against everybody. And we're going to go out there and we're going to pick up and do our jobs really well and pick up for whatever TJ may need. And that's what they did. And they played out of their minds. And there were things that happened in that game that we haven't seen in terms of like the offensive line and how they played that we haven't seen this year. And there's some things that happened in terms of the wide receivers and the way they did things. And of course, Emmett was who he was and had an amazing game. Okay, let's go to the phones before we take our first break. We go to Andrew. What's up, Andrew? How you doing?
I told you, Mr. Severe. Latif's going to be good.
Well, I am with you that he's going to be good. I will only caveat to you, one start. Teams will have tape on him. They're going to Penn State, and they're playing against Iowa. So get excited, but don't get over your skis because you know what happens. You fall in the snow, you hit a tree.
I hear what you're saying. I hear where you're coming from, but I will tell you this.
Yeah.
I thought he made quicker decisions. I thought he had great command for a young kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought he made his decision and then he knew when to get rid of it. He knew when to not stay in the pocket too long. His thought process to me was way quicker than Dylan.
Yeah, he looked.
Is that fair?
He looked great. I will tell you again that UCLA is the second worst overall defense in the Big Ten.
I know.
And he looked great. I just want everybody to pace themselves and get excited. I mean, God, you got to get excited about a freshman, but there's always that little caveat of who they were playing against. So yes,
there's a lot of people that thought it was only Dylan and Dylan could get us a victory. I just want to say to those people, there's other players on the team.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, the best player on the team is Emmett Johnson, right?
Yeah.
He's probably the best running back if he's not the best running back in the Big Ten, he's among the top two. And he's probably top.
He should be an All-American.
Yeah. Now, I definitely a first team All Big Ten for sure. I don't know if he'd be a first team All-American. I think Jeremiah Love's going to get one of those spots. And I don't know if Emmett gets it over a second back. So I don't know.
Or a multi-purpose back.
Yeah. Well, he could certainly, the Paul Hornung Award goes to all-purpose players that do everything. And he should certainly be up for that. For sure.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say, I think the future is really bright for this kid.
Yeah, I think, and it gives you also confidence for the team because of something that Rule said about development on how they're developing guys. And he's a great example of what you can do with a freshman in his second appearance, against a Power 4 team.
And when was the last time we put the word development and Nebraska together?
It doesn't happen a ton. But I will say, Emmett, you could say Emmett's kind of a development situation.
Yeah.
Right? Wasn't playing a whole lot. A guy like Lindenmeyer, definitely a development guy. They have some and a lot of more on defense. I mean, Guthrie at safety, certainly say he's probably a development guy.
What was McCullough's injury?
Coach said after the game that he had some stinger stuff. That's all he said. He said he just couldn't go. Stinger stuff. Not sure what that means.
And that could have been a big reason why they ran so well too.
Well, that worried me, but I don't know. I mean, he's one guy out there, and he's definitely pretty athletic. I don't know if it have made a ton of difference. They didn't run the ball well in terms of their running backs. They averaged a little bit over 3 yards a carry from their running backs, but, obviously TJ had over – I mean, not TJ. Nico had over 80, I think 85, 86 yards. So, yeah.
All right. Thanks, Mr.
All right. Have a great Sunday, Andrew.
You too. Take care.
All right, you too, man. So looking at this is overall defense, right? So this is total defense, which is just yards per game. Number 1 team in the Big Ten is Ohio State. Then it's Oregon. Number 3 is Iowa. And we saw Iowa yesterday do everything they can to win the game like an Iowa team can win. And didn't manage to do it, but, man, put themselves in a heck of a position to do it. And then Indiana, who dropped a little bit, but they played 10 games. Nebraska's played 10 games as well. So, but yards per game, Nebraska currently is under 300 yards a game. They've given up 295.7 yards a game. Pretty damn good. Yards per play wise, they are in the Big Ten. They are 6th yards per play wise. They are magically tied with Washington at 4.94 yards per play, which is kind of hard to have any ties at all when you're getting to the 3rd digit, but still, or 2nd digit. So you look at it and you say, Nebraska's defense getting a little bit better, the way they're playing, but that Iowa game in 3 weeks now or whatever is going to be an interesting one. It's going to be a heck of a battle for that as well. Let's go to Random Mike real quick before we take our break. Go ahead, Random Mike. What's up?
You remember what I told you when you had your evaluation of the quarterback?
Yeah.
I said I loved it. He got me all excited. It was just a question of when.
Yeah.
Totally agreed with it. Would it happen this quickly? I think you'd agree. His kind of quarterback with the line we have, it's much better suited for this team when you got a really poor pass blocking line.
Yeah, I disagree a little bit with how poor the pass blocking is. I do believe that part of it was bad play calling for a few games and Dillon not doing some of the things. But yes, I completely understand what you'd say. You can see once they've switched over these last 3 games to running Emmett more, overall the offensive line looks better, right? The last 3 weeks because of that.
Yeah, and this business about 100 yards rushing and passing, he easily could have had that against Wisconsin last year had they just thrown him a few more passes. They couldn't stop him.
Yeah.
But, it's such a great story about Emmett Johnson. But I'm really, if we win that game last week, if Latif plays just a little bit more like he really is, we understand anything can happen when you're throwing him like he was, and we win that game. Everything else is the same.
Oh, I know.
You imagine the excitement and how hey, we can make the damn playoffs, and like you said, who knows? Anything can happen.
Well, what happens if they just beat Minnesota? I mean, that's the game you're going to feel. That's the game that's going to stick with them. If they win the next 2, the game that's going to stick with them is that Minnesota game. That's the game they laid an egg. And if they only had losses to, just to USC and just to Michigan, you'd feel amazing about this season, I think.
Yeah. Can you make the playoffs with 3 losses?
Not 3. You can if you're Oklahoma because of the schedule strength they had. But you can't. Nebraska could have made it with 2. With losing just to USC and Michigan, I think Nebraska had a shot. They could have gotten in with 2. But that Minnesota game cost.
Michael, I'm not an Iowa lover, but their losses. I mean, I think they can make a real good case if they win out and they have 3 losses that they deserve it because I think they do.
Yeah, I don't think there's what's their big win.
Actually, their best games were their losses.
Their losses, I know. That's the problem. So it doesn't. You get a little bit of points for that, especially if it's on the road. But if you don't win any of those games, they wouldn't be able to do it. But no, they have played a tougher schedule, and man, they have certainly, without a doubt, played better than I thought that they would. I thought they could get to 8, but man, they're playing better than I thought they would.
Yeah, and if we win out, it's a hell of a year.
It's gonna be a hell of a bowl game too.
You got it. Take care, buddy.
Thank you, Random Mike. We'll take a break. When we come back, we will get more into your phone calls, 402-951-1620, plus some of the things that TJ Lateef did that really stood out yesterday as well. We'll have the keys to the game. We'll look back at those, the good, the bad, all of that. It's brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Nebraska Medicine. Join our team at nebraskamed.com/careers. More Severe Reaction when we come back here on 1620 The Zone.
Unbalanced right, heavy set. Imaliava now shifts to his left. Will be a direct snap with Jalen Berger. Motions a big man to his right. Direct snap. Here's Berger, angles right over the guard and is in, standing up, dragging defenders into the end zone for a UCLA touchdown. Fireworks shoot off to our left. The LED lights flare here inside the Rose Bowl. It's now 7-6. Huskers 13-14 in the second. PAT pending. Husker 44 tied at 7, 11-15 until half. Lindenmeyer, the motion man, settles in the trips right. Hunter wide left. Snap. Latif back to pass. Loads a screen left. Acres of space. Johnson 45 to midfield. Blockers out in front. 45-40. Left sideline to the 30. Breaks a tackle. Tiptoes the boundary. 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown Huskers. Oh, that was incredible.
Obviously our O-line, sometimes they bear the brunt of some things, to go out there with, I don't know how much time the clock ball left, like 6, 7, 8, 9 minutes, whatever it was at the end, 5 minutes. But to be able to run the clock down and take a knee on someone else's field is really hard to do in the Big Ten. And so I thought Emmett was outstanding. Just really proud.
Welcome back to the reaction here on 1620 The Zone, 402-951-1620. So I messed that number up earlier. I said 78% was the leverage rate. It was 87.
Even higher.
It was 87% was the leverage rate, meaning they were in either standard downs or third and short. 87% of the plays they ran. That's crazy to think about. Absolutely nuts to think about. But that's the kind of game they had yesterday in Los Angeles. Of course, the team arrived back here at about 6 a.m. this morning, 5, 6 a.m., somewhere like that. Coach Rule kind of made fun of the media having to spend the night. But, yeah, and I'm sure they're all sleeping right now, getting their rest from yesterday. We go back to the phones, 402-951-1620. That's where Tyler is this morning. What's up, Tyler?
Hey, Severe, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. I can't complain.
Yeah, not after last night. Yeah,
no.
It's a good day. It's a good day. Hey, so I want to say that it's not you. I'm not going to go at you.
Okay.
But I'm going to go at a couple of the people, some of the guys on the radio, earlier in the year, and I've said this since day one. Emmett Johnson is not that guy. He is the guy. He is the guy. So no matter what anybody says, dude, he is the guy. He's the best running back in the nation.
Ooh.
And I am surprised myself. I am a little bit surprised, but I'm telling you right now,
ooh,
that is the guy, not that guy.
Look, man, I think he is really, really good. I would take Jeremiah Love. If you could give me a direct trade, I'm taking Jeremiah Love. I am. I love Emmett. Great kid. Hell of a story. But Jeremiah Love's the best running back in the nation. Probably a first-round pick.
Look at our line, though. Look at our line.
Yeah. No, I get it. I completely understand what you're saying. And Emmett's very talented, and he's getting a lot of touches. He's getting a ton of touches to put up big numbers. Matter of fact, I think he's got more touches. So he's got the third most attempts of anyone in college football. Behind Army and Oregon State. That's incredible.
Yeah. So I was thinking that earlier in the year too. I'm like, well, he's the only guy maybe in the nation that we're actually using 24/7. Like everybody else is usually using like 2 running backs, right?
Yeah, so 2 or 3. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I get that. Yeah.
Imagine this, Tyler. So Kejuan Lacey is at Ole Miss. He committed to Nebraska, and then he didn't come. Obviously, he is the tied for 4th. With 200 carries. Imagine if both those running backs were here and they could be splitting carries, how successful Nebraska might be. Whew, man. Nobody. Hey, look, I think Emmett's an NFL player. I hope he comes back because I'm pretty sure Nebraska will be able to pay him something at NIL. But if he left with his stock being this high, I wouldn't be shocked.
Hey, just tell your buddy, Connor Happer. Never liked him. Hey, tell him, hey, he's that guy.
Connor didn't like Emmett?
No, every time I ever called in, man, he's always like, he's like, I don't think he's, a number 1 running back. And no, he is the guy.
Well, listen to this. Connor is no longer my buddy. All right. He's out. He's off the buddy list.
All right.
Thanks, Tyler. Have a great Sunday, man. I appreciate it. Let's go back to the phones where Scott is. Good morning, Scott.
Hi.
Hey.
Michael, great to speak with you. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Oh, welcome.
Everything. What a heck of a great game that was. Just wanted to say, I just absolutely love the secondary play that occurred. You have Singleton with 11 tackles.
Yes.
Doing wonders. Andrew Marshall, too, just really doing what he needs to do. Just absolutely tremendous. And, back in the day, we get excited about the walk-ons and everything, but when you have folks like Marshall and Watson Trent coming in from smaller schools and playing their hearts out and showing they can play at the Big Ten level, I just think that's really awesome and really exciting. And I don't know, that's just a great small dog beating a big dog story right there. I just love it 110%. Got a question for you.
Yeah.
UCLA averages about 183 yards passing in a game, and rushing's about 160.
Okay.
We held them to 190 passing and 156 rushing. And yet I'm on the message boards. I surf the Red Sea Scrolls, and all I'm hearing is disaster and this stuff about Butler and the defense. We held this team to their averages and a little bit slightly under. Is the world ending, or what am I missing here about this crew?
Man,
So,
Scott,
it's
Scott, it's big plays, right? And it's the quarterback running. That's what people see, and automatically means the world is, like you said, all of a sudden the sky is falling. But no, they played a hell of a game, a hell of a defensive game. Another opponent under 400 yards, which doesn't happen a ton. They under 400 yards, all the opponents this year.
Yeah. Well, it looks exasperating. You're right when Nico goes for those runs.
Yeah.
But when you look at it in context, context matters. And when you look at it by the numbers, the sky isn't necessarily falling. So our heart rate maybe could be better in the moment.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, Michael.
All right,
appreciate
Scott,
it.
I appreciate it. Yeah, so you look at what Nebraska's done and the way they're trending, right? So trending wise, let me look at points per play. So I looked that up. So trending wise, points per play. Right now, Nebraska is in the top 40 in the country offensively. Last year, and when I looked this up, I was like, whoa, I forgot. 106th. Nebraska was 106th in the country in offensive points per play. So it's really simple to figure it out. They're .450. You times that by how many plays they run in the game. That's how many points you're going to score. Really easy. Defensive side, they're 49th, which doesn't sound great, but it's almost exactly how they finished the season last year. Last year, so right now they're .346 defensive points per play. Last year, they were .344. So 200ths of a difference. It's almost exactly the same. And maybe, going against a Penn State offense that does struggle and an Iowa offense, which we know does struggle, going against those two offenses, you wouldn't be surprised if the numbers get even better in terms of points per play. Nebraska has done what they had to do almost every game this year in terms of one particular stat, and they did it again yesterday. We'll get into Latif's stats, what he did, some of the special stuff, and that one particular stat I'm talking about when we come back. Severe Reaction is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Answer the phone on the first ring, and brought to you by Nebraska Medicine. Join us, our team, at nebraskamed.com/careers. More of your phone calls when we come back here on Severe Reaction on 1620 Zone.
Lyman, 4th and 1. Husker 38-yard line. That sound you hear, that's Husker Nation. Maliaba out of the pistol, 2 backs. Deep back Thomas. Taupaki in motion left to right. Snap. Maliaba keeps, runs left, breaks a tackle, slips, goes down, he's short. Trips far left. Harbor tight right, key motions left to right. Latif shotgun set, Mosey left tip, belt tie snap. 5-man pressure, zips one over the middle, caught, it's Kiana slant, 25, angles left 20, breaks an ankle tackle, 15, 10, Key drags defenders to the 5-yard line, 1st and goal, Huskers.
I think that where you saw that impact was in the first play of the game was a zone read. So a team like UCLA that wants to come out and play man, and what people have been doing against us is playing a lot of man and pressuring. The quarterback, there's not a man for the quarterback typically, right? And so I thought early on when we did a couple of those plays, that forced them to play more quarters, and that we were able to just run the football. And it allowed us to, we knew that when we dropped back to throw it, there might be times where he did run. And but that would be a weapon. And so we didn't change anything really. I mean, we kind of took the plays we thought would work versus UCLA, and also that we think he does really well, and let him rip. And, there wasn't a time where I thought he was not on time or trying to do too much. I mean, we kept calling play action passes, and he was checking to the run. And I mean, just something mature, really mature version of a young player.
Welcome back. Severe Reaction here on 1620 The Zone, 402-951-1620. I know there were some people out there on social media that were saying the offense was working better because TJ wasn't changing the plays. Coach just told you he did. They give the ability to those quarterbacks to make the decision. You get the 2 plays and you get in there and you can run the play as it's called, or you check to the running component from the play. And that's fine. And I don't think that's any different than what they do under Dylan, So I know a lot of people were online, well, that's because everything's running smoother because he's not changing the play. No, he's still changing the play. He had control of the offense. You gave him a whole week, worked on it, looked 10 times better than at some of the points when he was struggling a little bit against USC, which could have probably got a little help from a couple of throws that he made downfield. By the way, downfield. So there was I'll get to the keys a little bit later, but one of them was, I just thought, based off of what we've seen in previous weeks from the offense in terms of throwing the ball down the field, that they would be better, right? That Nebraska will be better because I like the way TJ gets his feet set. I'm big on that. Gets his body in position and throws the ball with the ability for the ball downfield to be caught better. So short passes, 4 of 5. Medium passes, 7 of 8. The 1 deep pass, 1 of 1. So only 1 of 1. But remember, the last 3 weeks, Nebraska was something like 3 of 13, I think, in 14 or 15 or more. So again, I think as it goes along and you watch this team develop, you're going to see that the next 2 games, deep balls get completed at a higher rate because just the way TJ throws the ball, I just think it's going to be more efficient and get the ball out of his hand a little bit faster and be able to make that happen. So we're all, I know, excited about that. It's funny when you look at the final stats. So yards-wise, because of the long drives that UCLA had, Nebraska only outgained them by 13 yards, by 13 yards, 361 to 348. The rushing yards were almost identical, 156 to 157. Average yards per rush, almost the same. Yards per play, Nebraska, 6.7 to their 5.4. 6.7 is great. But a stat that doesn't go into these stats, it doesn't fit in here, okay? Doesn't go into here, but it's incredibly important every game. Again, this season, Nebraska wins the battle of field position. Talked about this coming into the season. It was one of the stats I wanted to look at because of how many times Nebraska did not win the battle of field position over the years. And so we wanted to kind of follow that. Yesterday, Nebraska, average starting position of 31, UCLA, the 20. So plus 11 in average starting field position. For the season, they're plus 57. So that's 5.7 plus 5.7 yards is where they are. That would put them, and now the number, I won't see the number until tomorrow, but I'm a guess that's going to put them, it's definitely in the top 10, and it may be as high as the top 6 for net field position in college football. So continuing the trend, and the big reason for this, less turnovers or fewer turnovers, better special teams play. Those are the 2 big reasons why they have been winning net field position all year, and they won it again yesterday. 402-951-1620. That's how you can reach the show. We go back to the phones where Wyatt is. Good morning, buddy. How are you?
Good morning. I got one of the kids you babysit on my lap right now.
Oh, is it the good one or the bad one? I'm just playing. Which one?
Which one are you?
Evan.
Evan. See, that's my buddy right there. Evan's my buddy. Yeah. What's up? What's up, Wyatt?
Well, he actually wanted me to watch the football game with some friends, but you're watching radio up right in the other room. Anyway, I'm jumping to conclusions or jumping the gun here on this question, but
yeah, ask it, bro. Ask it. Yes,
but it's in your wheelhouse.
Okay.
Too. At this point, what do you think Evan Johnson's draft stock is, or like what round do you think he would potentially go if he were to go this year?
So I tweeted this out earlier in the week. I think currently he's still a third-day guy, but in that 5th round. So I think around the 5th round, it's actually a really good, if everybody comes out, a really good running back draft. A lot of good talent.
Okay.
And last year, remember Ollie Gordon, who played for Oklahoma State? Ollie Gordon went in the 5th round. I could see that's about where Emmett could go as well, unless you can tell me that he's going to go to the combine and he's going to run better than I think he is. I don't think he's going to run great. If he can go and run great, then boom, bump him up another round. Because if he could run in like the low 4.4s, then yeah, I could see him move up. But I don't think that's what he is as a runner.
All right. Do you think it'd be beneficial for him to stay another year then, or should he just go ahead and go?
Financially, I think it'd be beneficial because in general, if he went around that 4th or 5th round, he'd make about $240,000 for a year, which is great. But he probably gets over $1 million if he comes back, don't you think?
Okay.
Yeah. So I think coming back financially, it would be, I don't know if it increases his draft stock because it's more carries on his body. He's a little bit older. So I don't know if it increases his draft stock to come back.
Okay.
All right. Bye, Evan.
Appreciate it.
All right. Bye, Evan.
Bye.
Bye. My buddy right there. Yeah, it's the running back position by far in terms of the draft is the one that's most difficult, not to predict success, but to predict where they get drafted, how long their career is going to last, obviously. A big part of it is what team you go to. Jonathan Taylor is a great running back. Loved him coming out of college. Guy was a sprinter. You knew he didn't get hurt when he was in high school or college. And for the first 5 years, I think he was the Colts. He didn't miss a practice. You knew that about him, right? But going to the Colts and that offensive line made him even better. If Jonathan Taylor goes to the Raiders, not the same player, right? But the last year, great running back class. I believe it was 28 people got drafted as running backs, which was the highest since, if I remember correctly from my tweet, 2017. But you have years where there's 16 drafted, 18 drafted, 20 drafted. So you got to take that into account as well, how good the other guys are to determine whether or not you should come out. I hope personally that he comes back. As selfishly, I would like to see him come back. I'd love to see what he could do, putting up more numbers. I'd love to see what he could do in terms of leading to the success of the team. I would like to see them get, and I know they got that Rule kid coming in, the running back, next year, but get him some help, obviously, at running back would be nice as well. Real quick about T.J. Lateef. You know he completed his first 11 passes of the game. 3 touchdowns and all of that. The team was 5 of 8 on 3rd down. Currently, after yesterday, Nebraska is just outside the top 25 on 3rd down. Ooh, fumble! 3rd down conversions. We have a situation in the studio where the producer, Peter Krinzer's favorite team is the Colts. The team I hate the most in the world are the Atlanta Falcons. Great combination.
It really is.
It is a great combination. You're happy.
Great
I'm
vibes
happy.
in here.
Great vibes in this room today. Lateef is just the 5th true freshman quarterback to start a game for Nebraska since 1950. Tommy Frazier beat Missouri. Cody Green, I believe his first start was against Baylor. I think they won 20-10, something like that. Might have had one before that. I don't remember. Adrian Martinez started the season. I guess the first game would have been Colorado and lost that one. Dylan Raiola would have lost. Last year, they started off with, who did they play first last year? At Arkansas State or something? Who did they play last year? For UTEP?
UTEP last year, yeah.
UTEP. So he won his first. And now Lateef joins Frazier and Green as making their first start in a conference road game. So it was Baylor. Baylor 2010. Baylor, they won 2010 and leading the Huskers to victory. So he joins the group of Cody Green, who only had 2 starts in his career, Tommy Frazier, who is the winningest quarterback in the program history. So he's somewhere between those. He's going to fall somewhere between Tommy Frazier and Cody Green, I'm pretty sure. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll get more into what Lateef did. And just like the damn media, we're going to look forward and say, what does this mean for Nebraska's future? I asked the question on Severe Reaction last week. And then on Monday, when I filled in for Connor, I asked Sam McEwen the question. But what happens come next spring if one quarterback is coming off being injured and the other quarterback is coming off of winning 4 games in a row? I don't know. We'll talk about that. 402-951-1620. We come back here on Severe Reaction.
Canucks still in there. You have Corcoran on that right side as well.
Same formation.
Straight eye, deep back Johnson. Lateef under center. Snap, spin, handoff. Johnson patiently probes up the middle. He's in, standing up. Touchdown, Emmett Johnson. Touchdown, Huskers. 20-7, Big Red. Minute 47 before half. No wind to speak of. Far right hash. Kick will go from right to left. Mateen Bogani. Snap back. Hold is down. The kick is up. Has plenty of leg. End over end. It is no good.
I tell you,
he missed it. Wide left.
He had been right to left all warm-ups.
About the first half debut for TJ Lateef as a starter. 6 of 6, 119 and 2 touchdowns. He put down to the turf, running into that Husker fan base across the way. Huskers up 2 touchdowns at the break, 21-7.
That was great. We believe in middle eight. We believe in a fourth quarter shutout. We just can't quite get the fourth quarter shutout the way we want to do it. And so, like I said, we're like some of the streets in Lincoln. We're under construction. We're still building. Right? But it's a fun process to be a part of.
Not just the streets of Lincoln, bro. The streets everywhere you go. If you can go a solid mile without hitting construction, I give you props. Nice job by you. I had to my son has a route to go to school from our house to Central. Same route he's always been going. And now they've completely devastated Leavenworth, so he can't go that way anymore. And so we were trying to figure out a better way for him, so just make it a little bit easier on him. And I drove with him to school last week just to see. And man, I'm like, damn. So the best way to go from our house now is to jump on Saddle Creek to coming to 20th, and then cut over to where he parks in his parking lot. But everywhere else, every other direction, there was some sort of construction. It's a mess. It's a mess out there. And I know it's.
But hey, we need a streetcar.
I know. Streetcar and make the streets better and all this other stuff. I get that. I understand. But still, my goodness, it is tough to get around. Talking about something that happened yesterday. So Wisconsin, if you missed it, beat Washington. Not a shock. I told people all week that was the one I liked because Washington, not the same team on the road. Very similar to USC, but struggle on the road. And they did, obviously, against Wisconsin. Wisconsin's AD comes out earlier in the week and says, hey, we're keeping Luke Fickell, coming back next year, settle things down, and they beat the number 23 team in the country. Should Washington have been number 23? I can't make that decision. I don't vote on that poll. But still, Luke Fickell gets a win over a top 25 team. This is what I used to always say, right? There's a great phrase. Old people say this phrase, right? The sun will shine on a dog's ass every now and then, right? That's how it works for this beating the top 25 team. I know it looks horrible that Nebraska is 0 for 29. I know it does. I know it's bad that it's 0 for 8 now for Matt Rule here at Nebraska. I get it. That looks horrible. But sometimes, eventually, you're going to just fall into one, right? You're going to have a situation where a team like Washington, they did. They had that situation. USC came in here, a team that was struggling on the road, and they had that chance. But yeah, eventually they're going to get it. They have to. And maybe it comes in the final week of the season. Right now, Iowa, after that loss yesterday, shouldn't drop far. The way they played, the way they battled, I don't think they dropped far. And then who does Iowa play with? No, they already beat the hell out of Wisconsin. Who do they play next before they play Nebraska? Iowa currently is
they've got road trip to USC and then home to Michigan State.
Okay, so if they could win those next two, which I wouldn't be shocked. USC's so up and down, but they are at home and it's tough to win there. Then Nebraska could have another shot at playing a ranked team on Friday the 28th. They could. And that's a chance, obviously, you can win a game. It's just weird that, for whatever reason, Nebraska hasn't fallen into one of these. They should have fallen into one of these by now, but they did not, like Wisconsin did yesterday, absolutely falling into one, beating Washington on the road. And Washington lost in the game. Their best wide receiver, one of the best receivers in the country. For a while, they lost their running back. I don't know if Coleman ever came back, Jonah Coleman. And for a while, Damon Williams was banged up. He hurt his ankle on the sideline. They were banged up across the board. And, Washington got him at the right time. That's what I was saying. Sometimes you can just fall into one, and they fell into them. Let's do the good before we take a break and get into our number 2. Take your phone calls at 402-951-1620. So many good things. But let's start off with the much maligned and criticized, and maybe that's fair occasionally, offensive line for the University of Nebraska. An offensive line that had that game against Minnesota. We now know that Gunnar Gatula was so injured playing in that game that now he's done for the season. So we know that. It shows why he gave up 4 sacks in that game. But also, Nebraska's game plan sucked in that game. Since then, Emmitt's had over 25 carries or 25 or more carries in the next 3 games. So we know that. But this offensive line yesterday was all over the place making blocks, doing everything well. Just 2 tackles for loss for UCLA. No sacks, no hits on the quarterback. I'm sure we'll get some more details from PFF a little bit later from Husker Online. I got to check that out and see if it's up yet. But I doubt there were very few. There were more, maybe 5 pressures total. They count their pressures different than the pressures are counted in the official stats, the quarterback hurries. There were no quarterback hurries. I mentioned the leverage rate, how good that was, 87% in standard downs. That's what basically leverage rate means, is that you've leveraged yourself against the sticks. You are ahead of the sticks. So you're 1st and 10, you are ahead of the sticks. If you are 2nd and 4, you're ahead of the sticks. 3rd and 3, ahead of the sticks. That's how they were almost all night completely. And then, of course, what Emmett did on the ground and through the air and keeping TJ clean, all of that. Let's give the offensive line a lot of props for how well they played and what they got done on a day on the road at UCLA with, Pritchard, who's got the ankle that's bad, Tyler Knak's playing. You're losing guys, you're bringing guys in. It's incredible what they've been able to do, and you got to give them props for the battle that they've gotten back to by, winning this game and all of a sudden looking a lot better as a unit than they had all season long. We'll take a break. When we come back, hour number 2, more of your phone calls, 402-951-1620. Of course, brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally and answer the phone on the first ring. And brought to you by Nebraska Medicine. Join our team at nebraskamed.com/careers. Hour number 2 of Severe Reaction. We come back here on 1620 The Zone.
Snap, blitz comes, it's picked up. Imaliava steps up, tucks and runs 35, breaks the tackle 40, angles out right to the 45 to midfield, spins his way up the numbers. Rex Guthrie bear hugs him along with Watson Trent across midfield to the 47-yard line of Nebraska. First down to UCLA, run of 22.
I love you. And Nico Iamaleava. Talent of Nico Iamaleava. Nico Iamaleava, you nowhere for Nico Iamaleava to go. Iama, I love you? Yeah. I mean, I love you.
He's 1st and 10, UCLA trailing 28-7. 4 minutes in, third quarter. 3 receivers left, one to the right. Imaliava shotgun set. Javian Thomas right hip, takes the lofting snap, 4-man rush. Oh, he's smothered. Keona Davis came in almost untouched for a big sack to the 45.
You guys will spend the night here tonight? Enjoy. I'll get home at 6. I saw the injury report tonight and all the guys that are out. Obviously, Dylan's out, Gunner's out, Teddy's out. And you go all the way back to like Janirin and all those guys. Just how many guys have fought for us this year and how much we care about them. I encourage them all just to send a text to those guys. I mean, Dylan was texting me before the game, like, hey, I got my call sheet in front of me. Make sure we do this, and this. So just blessed to be a part of a team that has that type of character. And I just have to praise TJ. I mean, that was just fantastic. And if you have any idea how we feel about him, I mean, at the end of the game on the line, we're throwing the football. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't do that, but we're doing that. And it's because he's earned that. It's not something I don't believe you give people confidence. They earn it and they deserve it.
Welcome back to Severe Reaction here on 1620 The Zone, hour number 2. I meant to mention this earlier when I was going over the good, and I didn't get to it. You heard the highlight just now, the sack. Keanu Davis played his best game as a Husker. And I'm not looking that up, but I'm pretty sure. 5 solo tackles, the sack, also had a pass breakup, knocking the ball away, 7 total tackles, was all over the place. Dominated like we thought he had a chance to dominate. The 2 players, and I don't want to use the word disappointing, but the 2 players that I had the most expectation for that didn't live up to that completely this season so far were Riley Van Poppel and Keanu Davis. I thought both those guys were going to take big steps forward. And not Van Poppel had a good game a couple games ago where I thought he played his best game. And now Keanu Davis played his best game. Deshaun Singleton played outstanding. 11 total tackles, 8 solo. He also had a tackle for loss and a pass breakup. And Javin Wright is just consistent. He's averaging right about 10 tackles a game over the second half of the season, and he's just been solid. And there's not much more you can say about how he's played in the 7th season of his as career here at Nebraska. But Nebraska moves, of course, to 7-3. I can't believe it. Just 2 games left. You wait and you wait and you wait for the season. And the offseason lasts forever. And you're just happy you got a little bit of spring ball to talk about. And then summer comes around and that painful sport of baseball. And then you finally get to, fall camp. And then the season starts. You're like, awesome. And you look up and 10 games have passed.
The next thing you know, you and I are walking in here and there's snow flurries outside.
And there's
2 games left.
And thethe's 2 games left in the regular season. Of course, 3 games left for Nebraska because they obviously are bowl eligible, sitting at 7-3, 4-3 in the conference. And by the way, if you missed it, yes, they did win another 1-score game. Another 1-score game won by the 2025 Nebraska Cornhuskers. Now, should it have been a 1-score game? Probably not. You understand, Nebraska's up 28-7, probably feeling pretty good about themselves. They had scored on all their drives except for that 1 inning and a half. We don't count that one. They were perfect in finishing drive rate at a 7, which is as good as you can get. And, they had to punt. Wasn't going great. Then you had that incredible, just ridiculously long drive by UCLA. And we've seen those, Nebraska not being able to get off the field at times is one of the things that's a little concerning about the defense. But that was a 12-play, 96-yard drive, 6 minutes and 39 seconds to make it 28-21. And then earlier in the game, you had the drive where they went 17 plays, 75 yards, and had the ball for 9 minutes and 46 seconds to tie it 7-7, ending in that direct snap to Berger for the touchdown. That's a little concerning. But total, both teams had 7 drives. 7 drives. Because, again, we don't count that drive at the end of the half when Nebraska, the half is over, so you don't count that one. But got a little hairy late. But as we said earlier in the show, it was in my opinion, going into it, and I wrote this and talked about it, that this was the perfect first start for TJ Lateef and a true freshman. Because if you're going to go somewhere on the road, you want to go somewhere on the road where you got the home field advantage somehow. Going home is nice. going someplace where the weather is not going to be bad. You had Missouri yesterday starting a true freshman against an A&M team. That defense gets all kinds of pressure. And that's a terrifying situation for that freshman quarterback. Well, TJ Lateef was going against a team that struggled to get pressure. That struggled to get pressure all year. No one on the team had more than 1.5 sacks. And that's a benefit. So you're going on the road to a place that's not really a scary road environment. You're going against a team that doesn't get pass rush, doesn't get pressure in general. And you're going against a team that had struggled against a quarterback that runs. Any kind of mobile quarterback they've had problems with. That's mobile quarterback from Drew Aller all the way through Malik Washington to everybody. Obviously, the first game they played against Utah and going against Dampier, he gives everybody trouble. But still, so all of those reasons, it was a hell of a chance for Nebraska with a true freshman to go out there in front of a national audience, even though it was a late national audience, and be able to show out. And that's exactly what they did. And Emmett Johnson, if you missed this, we mentioned it earlier, and it's been mentioned a couple times, but first running back in the history of Nebraska football, which when you say that, yeah, I know what the last, since basically 2014 has been, because you guys can rip on Bo Pelini's time, but I don't. I think that time up to 2014, you set some pretty darn good teams. But since then, yes, obviously Nebraska's been down, but you're talking about, 100 a year, more than 100, 20, 50, 140 years, a lot of years of football. And to have the first running back to ever get 100 yards on the ground and in the air in one game, that's just incredible to think about. And that's what Emmett Johnson did. And Emmett Johnson is, in case you're wondering, he would be the definite offensive player of the game on Big Red Wrap-Up on Tuesday. That I'm positive of. There's no doubt that's going to be the case, that he will be the offensive player of the game. The defensive player of the game, I think he's probably going to make it Singleton. I might make it Keona Davis because of how many times he gave the interior offensive line for UCLA just a ton of problems. And so I probably would give him the defensive player of the game. We'll see what we end up doing. I don't make that decision. That's made by the producer. Severe Reaction, hour number 2, brought to you by Equitable Bank. When we take banking personally, answer the phone on the first ring and take care of you. And brought to you by Nebraska Medicine. Join our team at nebraskamed.com/careers. 402-951-1620 is the number for you to call the show and get in and talk about what's going on. We'll take a break. We come back. Your phone calls here on Severe Reaction on 1620 The Zone.
Will Carroll will punt this one away. Ja'Cory Barney is back near the 35 of the Huskers. 4th and 1, and they snap it to the up man, fighting forward, dragging near the sticks. Rogers wraps up the up man. He'll have a first down to the 21.
Unbelievable.
What did I just say? Plus, they used the timeout, so you're thinking, okay, maybe they're talking this over. It's going to be a first down.
And you get it by the length of the ball, and they're tickled. That is
2nd and 18, Husker 45. 2 wide left, 1 to the right. Motion man, settles left. Snap, Imaliava swings it left, caught by Anthony Woods at midfield to the 45. Sprints a tackle 40. Along the numbers 25-20. Woods to the 10 at the 5. Dragged down into the end zone. Touchdown, 45 yards on the swing route to Anthony Woods. And UCLA right back in it with 9:58 to go in the third. It's 28-13.
He made the right checks, the right plays. He was really professional. Glenn did a great job. Not just this week. You can't get a guy ready this week. It's the whole season, right? And it's really, Dylan's mentoring the whole season. What Dylan's done for TJ and just, embracing him and bringing him in the fold, I think has allowed TJ and pushed TJ to this point where he was more than ready for that moment.
Welcome back to the reaction here on 1620 The Zone, 402-951-1620. You know why people don't think Daniel Jones can be a great quarterback in the NFL? And I know he's having a very good season. When they show his mugshot or his player picture, he's got dead eyes. It's like
he does.
It's like there's nothing there.
Stone cold killer eyes.
I know. He's just like, you are a serial killer, aren't you, with those eyes?
Maybe a little half smile.
It's not his fault. Maybe he should wear like some sort of contacts that like change the eyes or something like that. I don't know. But that's the problem. It's not his fault. It's not his fault at all. It just doesn't look like it's anything there. There's nothing there for Daniel Jones. Let's go back to the phones. That's where Craig is this morning. Good morning, Craig. How are you?
Good morning. Hey, doing well. Thanks for taking my call. Hey, Emmett Johnson, there's aspects of his game that remind me quite a bit of Doug DuBose back from the mid-'80s. But, gosh, I hope, when you look at the 26 schedule, I hope they're finding the means to increase his NIL money down there.
I agree with you. I hope they are. And I hope he decides to stay. I think he's going to have a chance to go into the league. So hopefully they give him as much as he would make going in the league.
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you, the thing that's most amazing to me about the kid is the fact that I told some of my buddies early in the season, if they don't find a quality number 2 back, that number 21 is just not going to survive. But by God, he runs as strong in the fourth quarter with that many touches and catches as he has in the first. So he's amazing in terms of his durability. And he sure doesn't look 200 pounds to me, but God bless it. Quite a running back. Hey, and I just had a football concept question for you. In terms of spying the quarterback, a mobile quarterback that, do you think that's a successful, viable concept? I mean, spying a quarterback takes place when the field expands, the box is no longer there, it's in a pass setting. I'm just
Craig, let me ask you a quick question. Yeah. If the guy spying is Levante David, I think it's awesome. If the guy spying can't run with him and makes it more difficult, and now all of a sudden you're -1 in the overall run game because he's just spying, I don't think it's as good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. I think it hinges upon your personnel.
Yeah.
But it also defeats the constructs of your coverage to a degree too. But
definitely.
It's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. And hey, I would just tell you too, hey, as long as Kamara and Jordan and Taysom Hill add Olave into the mix, this Carolina fan will never overlook the Saints, even if they're 1-7.
Craig, do not worry about the Saints today at all. Do not worry about it.
Divisional game.
I know. Okay. 5.5 is a big line. Okay. All right, Craig. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
That's funny. Yeah, I don't worry about them at all. That is the reason why these teams have general managers is to be able to deal with that stuff and to deal with looking ahead to allocating the money for the guys you have to get the money to, the guys you're going to have to bring in, the guys you're going to have to keep, right? So because of that, that is why you have a general manager. That's why you pay him the big bucks to make sure that he balances those ledgers. And a big part of the ledger is going to be talking to Emmett about coming back, how much money you can give him. He has to make the decision on, I'm sure his dream's always been to play in the NFL, his decision to go into the NFL and where he thinks he'll go. They'll give him a grade. Now they basically give you a first or second or third round grade, and then they give you a draftable grade. That's about it. They don't give exact rounds once you get past that second day. So they'll probably give him a draftable grade, and then have to make a decision. And what'll make the decision easier to come back is if they give him the money in NIL. Like you're just saying. Let's go back to the phones. That's where Terry is. Good morning, Terry.
Hey, good morning, Mike. Another great show. I appreciate you, man.
Thanks, man.
Hey, I think Emmett going pro, it would be great to have him back another year, but I think it also says something great about this program. If we can get a running back who's Big Ten, an All-American, and get selected in the pros, I mean, that speaks volumes for where we're going. Not as though we want to get rid of him. I mean, regardless if he stays or not, we're going to have to go get another bell cow, I think. But and as far as the last caller talking about a spy on a athletic quarterback, you got to have a very athletic linebacker.
Yes.
With some explosive speed, some length that is used to doing that. And I just don't think that we did that well. But I got to say one thing, man. That secondary is definitely legit. And I guess in this day and age, if you're going to take away anything right now, it would be great to do the running game. But at least we take away the passing game. And, hey, hats off to the way that they had this team prepared. This looked like a team well prepared for a game. So I just want to know your thoughts on that. And I guess the last thing would be, man, we need to get some dogs down there on that defensive line in the portal. So I want to know your thoughts. And I appreciate you a lot.
I appreciate it, Terry. I think we mentioned Keota Davis and how well he played. And I mentioned Van Poppel and then there's Nweri. And so you got a lot of young guys. You got guys that are back next year, right? And so you expect them to get bigger, stronger, better. So maybe just what you have is going to get you another step up. And then you go out into the portal and you bring in a couple of guys because you got the extra money in there now. That makes the difference. But honestly, I know it's not the case in the next 2 weeks. After the bye week, Penn State and Iowa are teams where you got to worry about the run a lot and not as much about the pass. But in general, in this league now, I mean, Oregon still runs the ball, but you know what kind of almost got them beat yesterday was Iowa outpassed them. Dante Moore had fewer yards than Gronowski did. So you're going to have to stop the pass in this league if you're going to win. Even Ohio State, who was a 54-46 run team, they haven't been that for a while. And they flipped that. Michigan is going to be a run team over pass team. But if you can stop the pass, I mean, not just stop it, dominate it the way Nebraska has, then forcing a team to go 17 plays, forcing a team to go 13 plays, go 9 plays because they're just trying to nickel dime your way down, the majority of the time they're going to make a mistake. It's going to be a big penalty. Now all of a sudden they're on, that 3rd and 11 or 12, or they're going to turn the ball over, or something's going to happen when you force them to go through a methodical drive. So as much as I'd like to see Nebraska be what they were in like 2009, where they're number 1 defense overall, or be a top 20 run defense, which would be great to be, the situation they're in now isn't horrible. The concern is the mobile quarterback and what just happened again against the mobile quarterback. Nico went for 15 carries, 86 yards. That's 5.7 yards a carry. If you look back at coming into this game, he was only averaging about 4.5 when you do the whole thing with removing the sacks. So, he had a really good game. Here's the critical part, and this is why it looks worse sometimes, because 8 of their 14 third downs, right, they converted, and 4 of them were Nico running the ball. So he converted half of the ones that they made. And the average of those was a little bit over 8 yards. It's like 8.6. So that concerns you. And that's something that you're going to have to worry about going forward. But here's something I used to always love the line that this is a Bo Pelini line. When people would say, that team struggles against a running quarterback. And Bo would say, all teams tend to struggle against a running quarterback. A running quarterback makes a lot of teams bad looking. They do. That's what it does. That's why it's nice to have, and it makes the other team look bad. Now, as Coach Rule said, you can't just be a team that just has that one element of being able to run and not be able to throw the ball, because then you get yourself in a situation like yesterday with Washington and Wisconsin, where because of the weather and because DeMond had kind of banged up his ankle, they couldn't throw the ball. And, of course, they lost Boston, too. They're great wide receiver, but they couldn't throw the ball, and they were stuck. And they became one-dimensional with the quarterback running around. He ends up fumbling the ball inside his own 5, gets Wisconsin a touchdown to tie the game. They end up losing. So you got to be able to do both, of course, obviously. And that's what TJ Lateef does. I mean, he can spin it. The funny part about it, when I wrote up about him coming out of high school, just based off of the tape you can watch coming out of high school, I mentioned that he was functionally mobile, meaning you need 5, it gets you 5. You need 10, maybe get you 10. But I didn't think of him as being a runner. I thought of him about being a passer, how he spun the ball. I think that's how he thinks of himself, too. But he's got the ability to do the other thing as well, which gets you pretty excited going forward for sure. We will talk about that going forward from this situation, where they are right now and what it means going forward, because it could get really interesting in the NIL world, in the profit-sharing world of college football, profit revenue world. What would it mean to have 2 quarterbacks that both have had success? Can you have 2? We'll talk about that more when we come back here on Severe Reaction on 1620 The Zone.
Goal at the 10-yard line. 28-14 Huskers. 5 minutes to play. Maliava shotgun set. Motion man left to right. Snap, 5-man push, dump it out right. Leaping catch, Anthony Freeze at the 9. Fights inside the 5, into the end zone, standing up. Touchdown to UCLA with 4:54 to go. It's a 1-possession game. It's now 28-20. 9 yards on the out route to Anthony Frias on the catch and run. Out of the gun, Johnson to his right. 2 tight ends left side of the line. Harburg motions near right. Now Bailey's back left, goes under center, takes a snap, quarterback sneak, legs his way and powers what should be a first down across midfield to the 49 of UCLA. Move the sticks, Medica first down.
Like I said, it's a blessing. I mean, they got confidence in me. I got confidence in them. And that's how we're going to continue to be great.
How do you think you play?
I mean, we got to win. So obviously I have to play a little good. Yeah, I'm proud of him, man. I'm super proud of him. Everybody on this team knows that he started off the week of practice. He was really focused on little details. And just, I remember we had a team compete early in the week, and he told Coach, like, the next day of practice, like, we do team compete again. And that just shows the competitor he is, and that shows tonight on the field. So I'm really, really proud of him, man, and I'm excited for his future.
Welcome back. Severe reaction here on 1620 The Zone following Nebraska's 28-21 win over UCLA, moving to 7-3 on the season. 2 more games after the bye week at Penn State, which I assume will be like 11 a.m., 12?
I think either 11 or 2:30.
Or 2:30. I'm hoping for 2:30. My son has getting his braces put on that morning. I don't know how long that lasts.
Give us the 2:30.
Give us the 2:30. I want the 2:30. 2:30 would be great.
And no more of the 6-day holds.
Well, they're always going to have the 6-day holds. Because we won't find out about that one until after the Saturday games is coming up Saturday, right?
Yeah, we won't know until probably the Monday leading up to that game.
Saturday or Sunday, something like that. So, we'll find that one out and whenever. It'll be whatever it is. You certainly don't want it to be a night game, I don't think.
No.
Because you already have a short week going with Iowa early morning on that Friday. You don't want to be out in State College for a late game and having to come back and deal with that. I don't think. Hopefully the Big Ten wouldn't do that to Nebraska, but you never know about the Big Ten. So let's just say TJ Lateef, after having a very fine performance against UCLA, goes out to Penn State, wins that game, moves Nebraska to 8-3, and then does something that only a few quarterbacks have done since Nebraska's been in the Big Ten, and that is beat Iowa, a home game, 11 a.m., sleepy after Thanksgiving, and he's sitting there at 9-3. The year 3 bump happened. Michael's prediction of 9-3 on the board over here happened. We're all excited. Gets a bowl game somewhere in Florida, maybe Tampa. Make Sean Callahan happy they go to Tampa. Maybe Music City Bowl, which isn't a bad drive. I've made that drive to Nashville many times. So maybe that's the case. Nebraska finished the season 10-3. Last time Nebraska was 10-3, I believe, was 2013. Is that right? I think that's right. And so you have that. And then you go to the offseason. You've got a quarterback whose NIL value is pretty high in Dylan Raiola. You have a kid coming off his true freshman year that finished the season with 4 wins in a row, getting Nebraska to 10-3. What does the future then hold? I asked that question to Sam McEwen on Monday when I was filling on Connor's show, and he goes, well, I think that, that Dylan is still, QB1, and he has, his last year at Nebraska being his junior year. I get that. I understand what they're saying in a way. There's the old line of you don't lose your job to injury. I understand that. There is the way the money is allocated now. If you look at Penn State now 2 years ago, they were sitting there with Drew Aller, but they really wanted to keep Prabula, right, who ended up going to Missouri. But they just couldn't do it. Now, that's before we moved on to the revenue sharing that we're at now. But still, a lot of times, if that young quarterback is showing some sort of potential, somebody's going to come along and offer them a boatload of cash to leave. Now, you have some other situations like at UCLA where the backup quarterback's a younger brother. Indiana, backup quarterback's a younger brother. Unless, Dylan's got, Dayton's coming in. I don't know what that means. But if you've got a successful quarterback in TJ, I think you do everything you possibly can to keep him. What does that mean for Dylan Raiola? Does he look to go someplace else? Does he go to another system? I really don't know. I think it's going to be an intrigue. We've had some good spring balls where you didn't know who the starting quarterback was. It didn't work out for a great season, but 2007 is a great example, A lot of talk about Joe Gans, a lot of talk about who was going to be the starter. You kind of had a good idea because you got a quarterback coming in here that sat out a year and came here to be the starter and all of that. And so, obviously the legendary one with Eric Crouch and Bobby Newcomb. This would be really interesting. It would be. Now, I'm pretty sure, based off of the way the surgery usually works, I don't exactly know where the break was or any of that stuff, but you're talking 3-4 months. Well, pretty sure that Dylan would be healthy by then to go through spring. So you would have a battle. Would it be a situation like the famous one in 1995, where, as Tom Osmond will tell you, we graded every single snap. And in the end, it came down to Tommy Frazier having 1 or 2 more snaps graded higher than Brooke Behringer, and that's why they went with him as their starter in 1995. That's the story. Do you get to that point where you're like, let's open it up to competition? If you think you're the best, if Dylan thinks he's the best, go into spring. Now, the problem with all of this is the change in the portal and how that works. I don't know if maybe Dylan is close to graduation. I don't know where he is with that. He's only been here 2 years, but sometimes people go through it pretty quickly. But I don't know what it would mean. I think it's intriguing as hell. I think it's a great problem to have. You have to figure out what gives you the best chance to win the Big Ten championship, period. All the questions you might have about it. What gives you the best chance to win the Big Ten championship? Because you win the Big Ten championship or you lose contending for the Big Ten championship, and you're in a position to be in the college football playoff question, right? At the end of this season, the thing that Nebraska will regret the most will be the way they played against Minnesota. That trip to Minnesota, the game plan, the preparation, all of those things will be the thing they regret. Because if they're sitting there at 10-2, it won't be the USC game, which they had a chance to win and the quarterback got hurt. It won't be the Michigan game. It would be simply how they played against and at Minnesota. That will be it. But the next question will be, what do we do about our quarterback situation? If TJ Lateef plays like we think he will over the next 2 games. 402-951-1620. What do you think? I know it is really putting the cart ahead of the horse. I know that. But you know what? That's what the media does, right? Let's go to the phones where Tony is. Good morning, Tony.
Michael, good morning.
Hey, man.
Appreciate your insight as always. I want to keep this real simple, though, because if I were to match wits with you with football, I'd lose. But I want to keep this simple. I don't think if Lateef starts Michigan, I don't think the outcome's any different.
Okay.
If Lateef starts against USC, with him having, preparation and practice,
sure,
as if he would have been the starter, that could have gone the other way. Now, here's what I do know. And I do know Dylan played against Minnesota.
Yes.
And we got embarrassed. Last night, I noticed Lateef would roll out of sacks. He did it twice,
at
least in the first quarter. For sure sacked. I said to the son, Dylan would have gotten sacked. I know if it's the nuts and that kind of thing. But I tell you, if Lateef starts against Minnesota, we do not lose. Guaranteed. I don't think there is a quarterback controversy.
So, Tony, even with the game plan they ran, if they go the same game plan where they don't run the ball like they run the last 3 games, you still think they win the game with Lateef?
With Minnesota?
The game against Minnesota, the game plan, they didn't run the ball much, and that's one of the things that hurt them, and then they had a bad right tackle who was hurt. You think they still win the game with that game plan?
I played ball at a low level, but all I know is when the guys I wanted in there were in there,
yeah,
I played my best.
Oh, sure.
This is a Brooke Tommy deal, maybe, and you're going to have guys that are on Lateef. This is going to be a deal. But I really believe he gives us, with his tool set, and I couldn't believe the way he spun the ball last night. That first touchdown, whew, what a throw.
That's his biggest strength.
So
his biggest strength is how he throws the ball. We didn't have him as a runner coming in.
But it's so nice
to
have him. I mean, to my knowledge, there wasn't one sack last night, right?
No touches. They only had 2 TFLs the whole night.
You didn't change your offensive line. You have the same team. You could argue you have some backups in there on O-line. I mean, I don't think it's. I understand it's one game, but boy, I sure did like what I saw. And I know he's no Tommy Frazier, but I love our chances against Iowa now.
So Tony, real quick, let me ask you this. So if it was up to you and you had to make a decision next spring, next fall, you're playing TJ Lateef.
Oh, not even a question. Not even a question.
So
He's going to blossom.
No doubt for you.
Oh, no doubt. He's going to blossom over the next 2 weeks. You know, if I'm Penn State, I'd rather prepare for Dylan. You ask the Penn State D coordinator, who would you rather prepare for?
Sure.
Oh, it's no question. I mean, we've seen Dylan run into sacks. We see TJ run away from him. You take away the sacks, Nebraska doesn't lose some of those games. And I love it. It's great. It's fun. It's good for competition. It's going to divide Husker Nation. Sure. But I'm a Teefy, Michael.
Hey, that's nothing embarrassing. Teefy looks really good this morning.
Yeah, I got to get a T-shirt.
I'm a Teefy.
They're probably going to be out there.
Oh, I'm sure they will be. Yeah, I appreciate it, Tony.
Have a good morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the debate you're going to have. Like I said, the ultimate question is who gives you the best chance to win the Big Ten championship? And if you have a chance to win the Big Ten championship game, you have a chance to go to the College World Playoff. So who gives you the best chance to do that? And in the end, depending on the play calling and the way the offensive line plays and all those things, I think you could win with both quarterbacks. Let me just put that out there. I think you can win with both quarterbacks. I thought Nebraska could win 9 with Dylan this year. I thought they could have. I think they can win 9 in the regular season with TJ Lateef. But you add a year of growth onto Lateef. You come off the injury with Raiola. You discovered some things in terms of your play calling. What decision do you make? Obviously, it comes down to one man and one man only. And that man is Matt Rhule. It's going to be a tough decision. We'll take a break. We'll come back. More on that. More of your phone calls. And a little quick look ahead to Penn State and what they present as a problem when that game comes up in 2 weeks. All that when we come back here on Severe Reaction on 1620 Zone.
Three receivers left. Snap. Handoff. Johnson sweeps right, gets a block, tunnels through a hole, drags defenders along the right numbers. Inside the 45 to the 44. Emmett Johnson downhill, now over 100 yards for a third consecutive game. Emmett Johnson.
Spindler just continuing to bully people.
You know, like I told him before the game, and he was already super, super focused. But I told him, just take it one play at a time and just play football. But anytime I get a chance to be the spark for the team and help the offense get going, like I said, the first play I was really excited that he pulled it because you know, the team thought I was going to be getting the ball the whole game, and so when he pulled it and ran, I was like, okay, he's locked in. I knew he was locked in right away. So yeah, just when I could be that spark for the team, it's just execution at the end of the day. You got to execute. I mean, they trusted me to throw the ball, so I got to execute. I mean, anytime whatever Coach Holgerson called, man, I'm really confident in it. I knew Zay and Dane, and I know those guys aren't talked about as much, but those guys made big catches and big blocks the whole night. So if you go back and watch the film, you'll see that they did a lot of things, and I can only give credit to them and my whole line too. But go watch the film. Go watch how Dane Key and Isaiah, watch how all of them block on every single play.
He was great. He's been consistently great. Even the foresight he had on the second to last run to get down. We'd like to get the first down, but he didn't want to get knocked out of bounds. And so it's just, he's literally calling out the situation before I can even do it. He's just so mature. And, the screen, it was just a great block by Isaiah. Two great, Rocco and maybe Henry or Justin, can't remember who, just doesn't, sprinting down the field. And then the throwback post was a great call by Dana. They had designed it, this week and worked it all week. It was something new that, we felt good about. And, he made the throw. And so, but Emmett's just an absolute weapon. I think he's, I see all the scouts coming in now, starting to body type. He's a pro.
Welcome back to a reaction here on 1620 The Zone on a happy day following Nebraska's win over UCLA. So they asked the question. He said, was it Rocco or was it Justin? Yes. It was both of them. They both were down there blocking on that play, keeping him between the boundary and the defenders, and did a great job on that for sure. 402-951-1620. Let's go to John. Good morning, John.
L, what's up, bro?
Hey, what's happening?
Chilling. Hey, man. I'm glad you already.
So this is Don, not John.
Yeah, of course it is. Bro.
Yeah, Don, what's up?
Nothing like that, though.
That's okay, Bubba. That's okay.
I try to sneak in, man, before you ever know, but you always stop. But anyway, you already used the putting the cart before the horse, and that's why I'm just calling in, man. And I hated to do it, man, because I wanted everybody to celebrate, man. But we got to pump the brakes, bro.
I know.
UCLA got more letters in their name than they got wins, bro.
I know.
They got 3 wins.
I know.
Man, we act like they got 13 wins.
I said it. I said the whole show. I said
the
it's UCLA, the second worst defense in the Big Ten.
There you go, man. Keep stressing that, bro. I know. You only can play the second worst team in the Big Ten one time a year, right?
That is true. Yes.
Okay, but now but I'm happy for him, man.
Yes.
He got to go home.
Yep.
The fans showed up out in the stands, but all these people, man, wanting to try to put division and try to put it is this dude team, man. Come on, bro. That's why we ain't winning, or not to the level when it was just
7-3, baby. 7-3.
Man.
7-3.
Man.
7-3. Say
hey,
it. Say it. Say
7-3.
You say 7-3.
Huh?
Say 7-3.
I mean, I'm happy.
Say it.
7-3.
Thank
man.
you.
I'm happy, bro.
Hey,
man, but now listen though, right? I wanted to say, Emmett, that
yeah.
Salute to him, bro. That was an historic performance that he had.
It was.
And it just I want you to do me a favor, man. Try to help me campaign to get Roger Craig into the Hall of Fame, bro.
I've talked to people about that. I'm with you. It's so that what it is. It's the one play. It's the game in the NFC Championship where he fumbles and the Giants recover and the Giants win the Super Bowl.
Oh, that's not.
I know. It's like a little black eye on him.
Who was his coach though?
Who was his coach?
Yes.
Bill Walsh.
Who called the play? Thank you very much, man. Put it on a genius, bro. You don't put it on a player.
Okay. All right. I get it.
Man.
He does belong in there though, for sure, Don. He definitely belongs. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Hanging up on me. Yeah. So UCLA.
Sorry, Don. I got the name wrong. That's my bad.
It's given up 30.7 points a game. The only team that's given up more per game is Michigan State. Rutgers is just behind them at 30. Peter, in 9 games, how many touchdowns do you think Ohio State's given up? In 9 games.
Through 9 games, I think they've given up, it's very small. I like maybe 5 or 6.
It's 7.
Okay.
They've given up 7 touchdowns and 6 field goals. They've given up 65 total points. They're giving up 7.2 points a game. That's ridiculous. In terms of teams giving up less than 2 touchdowns, you have Oregon, Iowa, Indiana, and Ohio State. In terms of teams giving up less than 3 touchdowns, you have Washington, Nebraska, Northwestern, and Michigan on top of that. And then everybody else is giving up more than 3 touchdowns a game, including USC, Wisconsin, Penn State, Maryland, Illinois, Purdue, Rutgers, UCLA, and we mentioned Michigan State. Real quick, keys to the game I had going in. Huge fan of the group Chic. Loved the song Le Freak, and I thought, man, Latif, LaFreak, that is just perfect, right? And it was. Going against a team that struggles against quarterbacks that can be mobile, UCLA has struggled. Latif went for just 5 rushes for 31 yards, but still, that 14-yard run early, I'm sure put them on notice. He could have gotten more if he wanted to. 13 of 15 through the air, 205, 3 touchdowns. Definitely LaFreak for the number 1 key. The number 2 key was tick, tick, boom. You need explosive plays. You need explosive plays no matter what you're doing, but especially on the road. Nebraska had 9 big plays for 210 yards, 5 of them passing. Of course, you had 2 big ones to Emmett Johnson for 158 yards for the 5 passes. And then Emmett, you also had 4 for 52 on the ground. Emmett had 3 of those. But yeah, explosive plays, got it done. 9 plays for 210 yards. And then number 3 was all I do is win the third quarter. Now, Nebraska didn't necessarily win the third quarter, tied 7-7, but doing what they did in the third quarter and, more importantly, winning the middle 8, scoring that last drive of the first half, scoring the first drive of the second half, winning that middle 8. It's coveted. It's why so many teams want the opportunity to be able to win the toss and then take the ball in the second half. Huge thing there, 14-point turnaround. Great job by Nebraska. All 3 keys accomplished. Let's take one more phone call. We have one more break left? Just one. Okay, we'll take this phone call from Alan. Good morning, Alan.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Good. Man, good to speak with you. So I just wanted to talk quickly about, I was one of the people, I was thinking, life comes at you fast. I thought the game may have passed him by. He looked rejuvenated last night with his play calling and some of the designs he had.
Yeah.
Especially getting Emmett out of the backfield, like on the wheel routes and stuff like that. My other thing is, for our defense to go to the next level, I think Shavers has to take a jump, and I know you talked about that a lot, of how he's misfit sometimes in his run keys.
Mm-hmm.
But how about this? How about we do a Tom Rinaldi type sit down and we connect the dots between him and Levante David, the way you did with Dana Holgerson. I think if Levante was his tutor, like that could be a huge step for him, because Levante was the same size as him, undersized middle linebacker from Miami. Like I think you should do a feature story on that on a Big Red wrap up or something like that in the summertime. And I think that tutelage, he goes to the next level, and that takes the defense to the next level, along with better safety play.
That works. Remember, Alan, I think I have this right. I think it was Corey. I think it was Cooper who looked back to Asante, and Asante came in and showed him how to look at film. I think that was correct. But yeah, I mean, just have a guy to be able to watch film with you that's been doing it before, that's gone on in the pros. It can make such a huge difference in his career for sure. I agree with you.
Yeah, and they're both from Miami, so it just works.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Appreciate it, man.
Have a good one.
You too. Thanks, Alan. Have a great Sunday. Yeah, it would be outstanding to see that. Now, there's something about Levante, and that I don't know if Shavers has. It's that short area explosion. Levante would be out of position sometimes, but his short area explosion was so good that not only could he get back too close to position, he could then make the play. One of the greatest examples of that is Nebraska playing Michigan, and Shoelaces, Denard Robinson, is running a quarterback draw, and Levante has run with the running back who gave the handoff. I think it was an orbit motion, and he's running with him. Denard leaves and takes off. He's just outside the guard, and he is going down the middle of the field. And in your mind, I remember watching and thinking, oh, that's a touchdown. And out of nowhere, Levante stopped, short area explosion, took off, and caught him by his ankles and took him down. Still one of the best plays I've ever seen by a linebacker in the open field, because Denard Robinson was fast. Levante was quick, smart, could do the job, and had that short area explosion. So I don't know if Vincent Shavers has that. I think he could probably even get and he's in great shape, don't get me wrong, but I think that he could even get in better track speed kind of shape. Like, I worked the hills this summer, and get in that kind of shape where your endurance and your explosion is better. And I think that he might be able to take it to the next level. But they got some good. Merritt Dawson is going to be a really good linebacker in this system. I think he's going to be outstanding. Did I say his name right? But I think he's going to be great. Merritt Beeson. Dawson Merritt. Dawson Merritt.
Merritt Beeson, the volleyball player?
I was like, I said Dawson Merritt. I said Merritt Dawson.
It is kind of it's easy to mix.
Yeah. So Dawson Merritt is going to be a great player in this system, I think. And so let's just get him healthy, get him the next year, and we'll see who's going to be in there playing linebacker. Javon, obviously Buda Wright will be gone, and we'll see what happens. But I really like the idea of getting Vincent Shavers. I hate saying the dude's in 10 times better shape than I am, for sure. Saying he's not in shape, but I think in better conditioning, develop his quickness, get that going a little bit so side to side is a little bit better. Once they get to that point, I think he could be a really good player in the Big Ten because he's already forwardly explosive and instinctually good. Just get that a little bit better. We'll take a break. We'll wrap the show up. Plus, we'll look at Penn State, some of those numbers as Nebraska gets ready to play them in a couple of weeks. When we come back here on Severe Reaction on 1620 The Zone.
And Nebraska will get back in the win column. One more snap will ice this thing. Latif takes it. Knee down to the turf. That will do it. Welcome back home, TJ Latif. First career start ends in a W. And the Huskers, big win here at the Rose Bowl. Final score, 28-21 over UCLA.
I was hearing from him before the game, and I shot him a text at halftime. So I was like, "Hey, what's next?" But I know how excited he will be. And the guys asked me, "Hey, can we grab the ball and make it back for him?" So, we love Dylan, we love TJ, we love all the guys, and excited to see them all play. No, it still surprises me. I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, it's just it's so impressive. It's so amazing. I think I told you guys this is like Julius, those tickets we had to get this week. I mean, I think a lot of people a lot of our friends out here and people coming out here and planning to be here, but it's just so great knowing that when you go on the road that you're going to have just such a great crowd like that, and just even the Go Big Red chants at the end and all that, and pretty cool to be coaching in the Rose Bowl, be playing in the Rose Bowl, and have that fan base and all those things. So, one of the commentators joking before the game. He's like, I bet you all the bowl reps are taking notice, and so, but it's just, and on the flip side, some people won't probably know, obviously McCullough was out tonight and Dylan Rogers went in there, and Dylan's been waiting to start him for 3 years. And, just kind of an old school kid, like doesn't come in and complain, just works hard on specialty teams, played 9 plays last week and did pretty well, and went out there and played the whole game tonight. So really good to see guys stepping up late in the season, developing, not trying to take the easy way out. And that was a great team win.
Severe Reaction brought to you by Equitable Bank. When we take banking personally, answer the phone in the first ring. And brought to you by Nebraska Medicine. Join our team at nebraskamed.com/careers. Penn State, 2 weeks. The Nittany Lions. Peter also mentioned that that this conversation earlier in the week about whether or not, or last week, about whether or not UCLA may leave the Rose Bowl and go play at SoFi. Looks like they are finalizing the deal for that.
Yeah.
The only reason to get excited about going to play UCLA is the fact that you're going to go play in the Rose Bowl. That was, right? I mean, SoFi is an amazing facility, but
I know numerous people whenever it doesn't happen often, but now that we're in the same conference, people that make the trip just to watch a game at the Rose Bowl.
Exactly. Are you making that same trip to go and sit into a quarter-filled SoFi? I don't think so.
No.
But whatever. Do what you got to do. Make some money. Penn State, overall, there are a few teams in college football that have done less with more than what Penn State has done this year. Loaded, spent money at the wide receiver spot when to go get speed. 2 of the best running backs in the country. They had Drew Aller, right, who's supposed to be a eventual first-round pick. They had went out and got some offensive line help. The defense needed help. Secondary was shored up, correct, all that. And in the end, no. They are 54th in opponents' points per game and 61st in points per game. Average, right? Average. Rush defense, what I thought was going to be a strength for Penn State coming into the season. They are 80th. Yeah, they're 80th, giving up 4.4 yards a carry and giving up 163.9 yards a game, and they're only rushing for 140 with Singleton and those guys. They are just not the team that I thought they were going to be coming into the season. I say that as a longtime Penn State fan. I'm very disappointed, but still, they are a wounded animal. You got to go there. You got to take care of business. Good game plan. Another 25 carries for Emmett. Another game for Letitia Latif where he is making plays, adding special plays for him to look good, and he can, continue a streak of going through hopefully 4 games to end the season. We won't be back here next week, but the week after that for sure for more Severe Reaction.